and more frequent. So what is going to happen in the next 2.5 months, I will tell you as I address you today. And also I will talk to you about learning outside the classroom. I don't know whether you remember or not, but I make it a point to tell all my students that learning should never be restricted to only the classroom. Learning should be there all the time, and learning should be there from everyone. So it is not only your teacher or your guru who is actually imparting learning to you, who's actually sharing his knowledge and wisdom with you. It is one can actually acquire knowledge and wisdom from anyone and everyone. And I'll explain this to you with some examples. And before I do that, let me make this very clear that learning inside the classroom is very, very important for all students. And when I say learning inside the classroom is important, I mention this as a necessary thing, that what are the key elements of learning inside the classroom. The key elements of learning inside the classroom is A, that you should be punctual and present in time for the class. 2 is that you should be attentive inside the class. 3 is that whatever pre-reading is required to be done for that class, you should actually have done that pre-reading when you come to the class. And 4th is that you should be participative in the class. You should actually contribute to the discussion in the class that is actually taking place. If you do these 4 things, then your learning inside the classroom is going to be complete. And when I talk of learning inside the classroom and learning outside the classroom, let me make this clear that those who excel in their learning inside the classroom, they do very well in academics, they do very well in exams. But in life, that is not enough. So what is actually important is not only learning inside the classroom, but also learning outside, learning all the time, and learning from everyone. God has given you these various organs, and in that, amongst that, I say always that the most important organ that we have is our brain, the human mind. हम इसको जितना एक्सरसाइज करेंगे उतना ये हमको आउटपुट देता है. So we have to keep our antennae tuned all the time, trying to gather data, trying to gather information, trying to learn. And if we do that, I can assure you that you will not only excel in academics, you will excel also in life. And that is the objective of FOSTIIMA Business School, that you should not only excel in academics, you should excel wherever you go. You should go excel in the corporate world, in your job, and also in your life. So this is what is going to be the focus and theme of your 2 years at FOSTIIMA, and this is going to be the focus and theme of what I am going to tell you today in the next 1 hour. Now, one of the things that has always irked us and has also given a very bad reputation to India is our punctuality. By habit, I find, or actually the world finds, that Indians are not punctual. As a matter of fact, whenever there have been meetings with some foreign dignitaries, there is a joke which is going about that Indian Standard Time. So whenever somebody says 4 p.m. Indian Standard Time, I mean, people take it for granted that 4 p.m. will not be adhered to. They take it for granted कि इसमें 15-20 मिनट आधा घंटा तो देर हो ही जाएगी. Whereas you will find whether it is Japanese or Americans or Britishers, if you say 4 o'clock, they are there at 3:55, if not at 3:50. So that is the kind of planning that they do to be present in time. And whereas when we say that, well, yes, today's lecture will start at 4 p.m., well, let me share with you that at 4 p.m., only Riddhi ma'am and I, we were the only two people present on this Zoom platform. So one thing that you must get into your habits is punctuality. When you come to FOSTIIMA, when you're going to have physical classes, you will find that there is hardly any time which is there for you in between classes. So you have to be present, you have to be punctual, because if you are late, A is that you will miss the crucial part, which is the beginning of the lecture, and 2 is that if you are late for such long periods as today, like for 15-20 minutes, then you may also miss your attendance. So therefore, punctuality is one thing that you must get into your scheme of habits. The second most important thing that I want, and which is now gradually it is eroding in the generation of today, is truthfulness, honesty, and ethics. I mean, the point is that we have seen this, I have seen this in my life, that our moral values, our ethics have been actually depleting gradually over a period of time. And when I say this, in today's generation, people do not hesitate at all to speak untruth. Please get this out of your system as fast as you can. जितना लाइफ में आप ट्रूथफुल रहोगे, जितना ऑनेस्ट रहोगे, जितना एथिक्स को अपनी लाइफ में लेके आओगे, उतना ही आपको फायदा होगा. I can say this with confidence, and this is my assurance. And if you say the truth at any situation, where whatever difficulty you might be facing at that time, you will find always that you will be much lighter at the end of that particular incident. You will not carry any burden of guilt in you. And I must say this, that the old Indian stories, many of you would have read them when you were a small child, that the stories of Panchatantra, or even like these, I remember, and I can remember this, and that even there used to be these stories of Akbar and Birbal. They had lots and lots of message in them. And I am just reminded of one such story today. And this actually is about Akbar and Birbal. I don't know how many of you might have read it or heard it from your grandfather or grandmother. And this story goes like this, that there in the peak of winter in the city of Agra, there used to be ice-cold Yamuna river flowing in Agra. And Akbar, when he was there in Agra on one of his visits, he said that, well, he made an announcement that if there would be a person who can, without putting any, who can say topless, stand in this river for the whole night, he will give him 100,000 gold asharfis, as they used to call it, gold coins, asharfis as they used to call in those days, to him as a as a gift or a bonus or a prize. Many people came and tried. Nobody was really successful. But then there was one poor a poor old farmer. He said, I will try. And he stood there in the river all night, freezing cold, but he managed to survive. And next day in the morning, he went to the king's palace, and in the courtroom of the king, he said that, sir, my prize. Akbar asked him that, how did you manage to do that? That so many people have failed, and how have you managed to do that? So this man replied, so there was a lamp which was lighting on top of the palace. I actually focused on that lamp, and by virtue of my focusing on that lamp, I could manage to survive all night in that freezing cold river. So Akbar said, oh, you don't deserve to get a prize at all, because you took light and you took heat from the palatial lamp, and therefore it is actually, you have cheated and you don't deserve to um, get this prize. That poor chap, he was very disappointed. He was hoping to get this prize money of 100,000 gold asharfis, but then he went back disappointed. On the way, he met Birbal, and Birbal asked him, what is the problem? You should be happy. You've got you would have got this prize. So this poor farmer narrated the entire story to Birbal. Birbal felt very bad for him. And then he said, all right, don't worry, I'll find a solution for you. But then thereafter, Birbal stopped going to the king's courtroom at all, and he did not go for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. When 3 days the Birbal did not come, Akbar sent for him. He still did not come to the palace. So Akbar decided to go and meet Birbal at his place, at his residence. As he entered Birbal's home, he found that Birbal was lying down on a bed at the corner of one room. There was fire in the other corner of the room, and also he had put one matka handi kind of thing hanging from the terrace at the center of the room. So Akbar asked him that, why aren't you coming to the palace? And so the Birbal said, कि सर ऐसा है कि मैं इसमें हांडी के अंदर चावल और खिचड़ी पका रहा हूँ, और जब ये पक जाएगी तो मैं आ जाऊंगा. So Akbar said, how are you doing it? He says, वो तो कोने में आग जल रही है, उससे मैं ये खिचड़ी पका रहा हूँ, और जब ये पक जाएगी तो मैं आ जाऊंगा. So Akbar said, how foolish of you! इतनी दूर आग जल रही है और ये यहाँ से खिचड़ी कैसे पक जाए? To which, of course, you all must have got the moral of the story, that to which Birbal naturally replied कि सर आपके उस लैंप से अगर उसको गरीब किसान को गर्मी मिल रही थी और वो उस रिवर में खड़ा हो सकता था, then certainly this fire in my room can actually cook the khichdi in this particular bowl. So the moral of the story was, Akbar realized his own mistake. He realized that he was not being ethical, and he called that farmer again, gave him his prize, etc., etc. So this is a very, very old fable which is there in all Indian stories in schools and etc. I was just reminded of it today. So we have to bring ethics in our culture, in our way of doing things. And if we do this, if we have knowledge, if we have ethics, and if we have knowledge inside the classroom, if we have knowledge outside the classroom, and if we also have ethics, we become a very, very lethal and potent combination in terms of our performing in life. The other thing that has been actually happening, and which we have all been growing up to, is that things are changing. Things are changing, and all effective good managers are required to be able to be adaptive to that change. And this is what we have grown up to, and this is what We also that anybody who is actually flexible, who can adapt to the change, is normally the person who is considered as who's going to be a successful person, manager, etc. Okay, but in the last, I would say 5 years, or not even 5 years, last 2, 3 years, you would say, the rate at which the dynamics of change is happening, it is not enough now to be adaptive to that change. And this is something which is going to be the focus of what I am actually going to tell you for the next half an hour or 45 minutes, I would say. So the dynamics of change, if you find in the recent past, makes it necessary for each one of you to be a change agent yourself. So the point, it's not enough to be adaptive to change. What is actually required is that, yes, you should be able to be a part of that change process yourself. And in that, the key word is innovate, innovate, and innovate. The way the world around us is changing, if we do not innovate, we are certainly going to be left behind. This applies to you, to me, and to everybody. It applies to education, it applies to IT, it applies to manufacturing, it applies to every walk of life. And therefore, I say that we have to be very change-oriented, innovative-oriented. And what is innovation-oriented? So how does one become like that? How does one become like that? One of the things that I have always insisted on telling all of you is that, well, yes, you have to be always, like one of the thing is that first thing is that you have to be questioning your immediate surroundings. You have to be questioning yourself. You have to be questioning your immediate surroundings. You have to be questioning all events and activities which surround you. Unless you are not questioning, you will not be able to look critically at things, at events, at activities. One example that I keep, and I'll keep giving you more and more examples of this so that you understand what I'm trying to say. The number of startups in India which have actually become unicorns. Unicorns are startups which have valuation more than $1 billion, which is something like 8,000 crores or 7,500 crores. So these unicorns are now increasing by the day. Every day you have almost every day you have a new unicorn. Now, if you try and analyze that, what is actually driving these unicorns, so then you will find that, well, yes, these are people who questioned their surroundings, who saw the flaws in their surroundings, which probably most commoners do not see. There was these big basket and grofers, which were they decided to make life easy. They decided to make life easy that for people that they don't have to go to the marketplace, they don't have to go to the grocer. Of course, it was accelerated by COVID and pandemic, etc. But then the fact is that big basket and grofers, they started their journey even before COVID came into existence. So what was there was that, well, yes, you could order your groceries, your items of need and requirement sitting in the comfort of your home. and you will get door delivery of all products. I was very happy by the occurrence and the growth of these companies like Grofers and Big Basket, and I used to freely order. Sometimes I would get delivery the next day, and sometimes I would get it in 48 hours, but then I would get it at home and I would plan accordingly. Then came one super fellow called Blinkit, and they decided to give you delivery in 15 minutes time. It's an amazing idea. Somebody just thought of it. So the point is, and now the thing is that I don't have to worry that if I don't have milk in the morning, if I don't have bread in the morning at home, I don't have to worry at all that Arey, kya koi nahi, and there's nobody to bring it. I just click on my mobile and presto, within 15 minutes, I have the stuff at home for my breakfast, etc. So the thing is that there is some clever fellow within that company who thought that, well, yes, such a thing is possible. And there are several such examples which actually give convenience to the customer, convenience which was never thought of, which was already always a pain point for most of us. But then they started, they thought about it, they developed the software, looked for a solution, and gave it to the customers. And the venture capitals, the private equity firms, they look for value in these kind of ideas. So basically, there is a concept which is known as, there is a subject which is known as design thinking, which is built around this particular idea, that identify the need, and design think around it, develop the product around it, so that this need and convenience can be met with. But the most important thing in this whole process, how that ideation is the most important aspect of this particular event and activity. So there are if you can ideate and innovate, there is no sky is really the limit. There is nothing which can stop you in this. Of course, if you have 10 ideas, it's not necessary that all 10 of them may succeed, but then you have to keep thinking. I mean, I give this example to everybody. Those of you who have actually traveled in aircrafts, you would see that there is a seat belt in a car. There is also a seat belt in the aircrafts. Now, if you actually, I don't know how many of you would have traveled by air, but if you actually compare, the seat belt in the car consists of two straps. One goes across the shoulder and the other across your stomach, and then goes into the buckle at the other end. However, the seat belt in the aircraft has just one single strap, which can be tied loosely over the stomach. Now the seat belt in the car, it gives you a lot of comfort. It also prevents fatalities during accident. But the seat belt in the aircraft, neither does it give you that confidence, neither does it give you that kind of security, nor that kind of comfort which the seat belt in the car provides. I often ask, whenever I think of it, I wonder, and then I ask also people that why is it that they have made the seatbelt in the aircraft like this? Why not like the car? Why can't we have a seatbelt in the aircraft which goes over the shoulder and fits into the buckle in the other end? You know, it would give us a tremendous amount of safety in the event of an accident, etc., etc. I've really not got an answer from many of these people that I ask, or rather any of these persons whom I asked. And I keep wondering that why is it like this that they are not doing? But then really, I cannot understand why this is there. we have now actually, I mean, if any of you, I leave it to you that if you have an answer to this, you can send it to my the Riddhi ma'am, and she will share it with me, or you can even put it in chat over here. Just know if any of you know that how this can be, why the screw seat belts are so different, and what is the reason for that. We've had 2 years of pandemic, 2 years of pandemic, and people have been wearing masks, which have now actually become not mandatory. But then there is, it may once again come back into the system as a mandatory activity, because there is a very, very slight increase in COVID. Now, this COVID is actually, in my opinion, a thing of the past, because I think we have been so well vaccinated in India with Covishield and Covaxin. Both of these vaccines are very good. And so I don't think that the variants are now going to affect us. And even the variants have also lost much of their sting, so I don't see any problem. But then I was basically talking of masks. Masks have become not mandatory, but they may it is advised that we should put on our masks. So you've seen that masks are of various types. You know, that many girls and women make have colorful masks to match their dresses, and there are surgical masks, there are N95 masks, and various masks. But then I would like to show you a small video clip. I would like to show you a small video clip of an organization, LG, and which is and when you see that mask, you would realize the kind of innovation, the kind of thought process which has actually gone beyond into making of that mask. And so, of course, it's an expensive product, but then the thought process behind that manufacture and the design of that mask is very, very important. And I want each one of you to actually see this video and understand that how a simple product can be so marketed. So yeah, please start the video. You can.
Hi, we're going to unbox the LG mask. And many people are wondering why this mask is so costly. So we're going to unbox and see why this is so costly and what it is made of. So once you unbox it, the first part which comes out is the outer layer, the shell. Basically it's white in color, and it's a permanent feature of the mask which you don't need to throw it out. So it's got two fans on both sides along with a HEPA filter. So this is how it looks. Yeah, you have the two sides, and these are the extendable ear wraps, and you can adjust this. And this is basically the silicone gel. This is the inner layer of the mask. This is again a permanent feature. It's made of silicone. It's very spongy and it's very flexible. It doesn't affect it doesn't put strain on your face. It's very comfortable when you wear it. And to put this inside, it's very simple. You just have to clip on fit. It's basically you just have to put it and press it, and it gets attached. It's so easy. And see, this is how it looks after putting it. The next part is that what we are seeing is that we're seeing a warranty card and a user manual, and we have this inner filter which goes inside the mask, and this is the outer filter which comes outside the mask. So these are strap extenders. You can put it on the back side of your head so that if you're finding it very difficult. And this is a pouch where you can store the mask comfortably inside after using it for the day. So it's a velvet style, and this is where you fit in the outside filters. These are the HEPA filters, and it has to be fit on both left and right side of the mask. And inside that you have the fan which will basically suck in the air, so you get a purified air, inside the mask, which is always breathable. So you always get a good supply of air inside the mask. So it is very breathable. You don't have to suffocate. And you have this is a filter which comes on the inside. So this one actually now you can change it once in 10 days or once in 20 days depending on the dirt it accumulates or the color when it changes. The outside filters you just have to change it once in a month or twice a month. So this is a settings for fan, and it's got a C-type chargers for charging. If you charge it for 2 hours, it will come for 8 full hours. For a day it will come. And this is how you put it, and it's so comfortable wearing it. And you just set the fan settings. You have 3 settings, and this extended strap. If you're finding it difficult, you can put this strap so that it doesn't put pressure on your nose or on your face. It's so comfortable. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just setting the fan speed. You have 1, 2, 3 speeding. So at 3 speeds basically, and this is an exit for exit air. It's so comfortable. Hi, my name is Muthu. I made this unboxing video of LG mask. What I wanted to tell you is that I don't sell these masks, or I don't buy and give it to a reseller. So do not approach me for any kind of sales inquiries or.
So I just showed you this particular clip of an LG mask. Of course, this mask costs a lot, but then the point that is there for each one of you to see and understand is that LG as an organization identified the various problems which an individual faces if he or she has to remain masked for long periods of time. So then you identify that, well, yes, you require clean, breathable air. You require your area which is in contact with the mask to be free. It should not strain your ears. You should not strain your nose. And it should also be provide you it should not cause any perspiration inside. So they identified all the factors and built it into their mask. They put in a fan, they put in HEPA filters, they put in internal silicone layers, and they made a mask. Well, a simple product which could be even 2 rupees, and they made a product worth thousands of rupees only for the purpose of providing the ideal solution to the problem which is being faced. So this is just an example of what innovation can do. Just like I talked of Blinkit, and there are several such areas around us where you will find that, well, yes, the pain point has been identified, the convenience which their solution can provide has also been suggested, and this, when the two get together, then you come with a product which can be a good startup. Now, this is happening, I'm not only talking of startups, this is happening at all levels in all organizations. That what was actually the normal yesterday is not the normal today. What is the normal today will not remain the normal tomorrow. So we have to get this inculcated within our system that, well, yes, we not only do we have to live with change, we also have to be that change agent. We have to cause that change. We have to ideate. We have to innovate, and we have to make this world a better place for all of us to live. Another, say, a typical management kind of clip I will show you again after this, and you will find that everybody must have again heard this story from the good old days about the hare and the tortoise. एक कछुए और खरगोश की जो रेस होती है उसके बारे में आपने सबने बचपन में सुना होगा. So I'll show you that clip just now about the hare and the tortoise, and again you will find an interesting variation of what you've been hearing ever since you've been a child.
Once upon a time, a turtle and a rabbit had an argument about who was faster. They decided to settle the argument with a race. The turtle and the rabbit both agreed on a route and started off the race. The rabbit shot ahead and ran briskly for some time. Then, seeing he was far ahead of the turtle, he thought he'd sit under a tree for some time and relax before continuing the race. He sat under the tree and soon fell asleep. The turtle, plodding on, overtook him and soon finished the race, emerging as the undisputed champ. The rabbit woke up and realized that he'd lost the race. The moral of the story is that slow and steady wins the race. This is the version of the story that we've all grown up with. But our version of the story continues. The rabbit was disappointed at losing the race, and he did some thinking. He realized that he'd lost the race only because he had been overconfident, careless, and lax. If he had not taken things for granted, there's no way the turtle could have beaten him. So, he challenged the turtle to another race. The turtle agreed. This time, the rabbit went all out and ran without stopping from start to finish. He won by several miles. The moral of the story? Fast and consistent will always beat the slow and steady. It's good to be slow and steady, but it's better to be fast and reliable. But the story doesn't end here. The turtle did some thinking this time and realized that there's no way he can beat the rabbit in a race the way it was currently formatted. He thought for a while and then challenged the rabbit to another race, but on a slightly different route. The rabbit agreed. The turtle and rabbit started off. In keeping with his self-made commitment to be consistently fast, the rabbit took off and ran at top speed until he came to a broad river. The finishing line was a couple of kilometers on the other side of the river. The rabbit sat there, wondering what to do. In the meantime, the turtle trundled along, got into the river, swam to the opposite bank, continued walking, and finished the race. The moral of the story? First, identify your core competency, and then change the playing field to suit your core competency. The story still hasn't ended. The turtle and rabbit by this time had become pretty good friends, and they did some thinking together. Both realized that the last race could have been run much better. So, the turtle and rabbit decided to do the last race again, but to run as a team this time. They started off, and this time the rabbit carried the turtle till the riverbank. There, the turtle took over and swam across with the rabbit on his back. On the opposite bank, the rabbit again carried the turtle, and they reached the finishing line together. Both the turtle and rabbit felt a greater sense of satisfaction than they'd felt earlier. The moral of the story? It's good to be individually brilliant and to have strong core competencies. But unless you're able to work in a team and harness each other's core competencies, you'll always perform below par, because there will always be situations at which you'll do poorly and someone else does well. Teamwork is mainly about situational leadership, letting the person with the relevant core competency for a situation take leadership. And that is the end of the story.
So you will learn more about teamwork, you will learn more about leadership when you come to the campus. But like I told you, that we are gradually going to introduce you to what management is all about. It will entail some level of unlearning from what you've been, the way you've been learning during your undergraduate level. And this process of what we are doing right now is a part of that unlearning process, trying to make you understand that, well, yes, it is not only classroom, it's not only mugging up, rote learning that is important. It is important to be aware all the time. Awareness is as important as classroom learning. So this is something which you have to get ingrained into your system. Before I end, there are 3, 4 announcements that I have to make. And the first thing is that I'm glad to inform you that FOSTIIMA has completed its admissions for the PGP class of 2024, 22, 24 as we call it. So 2024, the admissions are complete. All our seats are full. Now, whatever new, if anybody there is against waitlist for against people who are for one reason or the other not able to join, financial, whatever, etc. So that's the news that I wanted to share with you. The second thing is that you will also, we have a students relations team here at FOSTIIMA. They would connect with you very soon. They would send you the mails. Please keep checking your FOSTIIMA mail ID regularly and frequently. So we have a whole lot of committees and clubs. We have a marketing club, HR, finance, and cultural, etc. So they will be sending you and inviting names for memberships of these committees, and you can, wherever lies your interest, you can give your or same. And if you want, you can even opt for more than one, and then maybe the student relations team will decide which one of these. You can give your preferences 1, 2, and 3, and then they will take action on them. So, but before you come to the campus, you will know which club, which committee you are going to be a part of. That's one. Number two, that also I wanted to share with you is that this year we've got a separate within our this thing, that we have a group within our group of students with very high CAT and ZAT percentile, and we are having a special scholarship scheme, etc., for them. For the others, we are giving them an opportunity to be a part of this elite pack, and we are starting a series of aptitude tests, which would be conducted on our learning management systems. So probably there would be 8 to 10 tests that will be conducted in the span of next 2 months, and there would be one trial test which would be done, and which whereafter there would be others. Your marks would be compiled, and basis your performance in those tests. We would shortlist about top 10 students out of you, out of these 240, 50 odd students. Who we will shortlist the top 10, and then we would, once you come to the campus, there would be a second round, and basis that thing, you would also be a part of the elite pack. So get ready and start exercising your mind, and so that all of you are actually vying for the elite group. With that, I thank you all for listening to me attentively for the last 50 odd minutes. Of course, I would have preferred that this discussion of ours is face to face, but then when you come to the campus, you will see more of me and more such stories, more such lectures Thank you very much. Riddhi, you can come in and talk to them.
Okay, thank you, sir. As we sign off, so we'll look forward for the next session. Thanks all and have a nice day. Stay safe and stay happy. I'm sure you all enjoyed the session. Thank you, sir.